Hey bookworms, welcome in. Welcome in. Today we're going to be doing the Booktube Newbie challenge. I just started my Booktube, so this seemed like a fun challenge to kind of kick it off so you can get to know me better. The first question is, why did you start this channel? So I started this channel because I've been watching Booktube since like 2020 and it always seemed like fun, but I never started my own because I was always kind of intimidated about like the editing and everything that went behind it. For some reason this year I was like, you know what, let's just try it. Also, my husband and I are going through the whole IVF process because I have endometriosis. Hopefully within the next year or so, things might be changing for us, and so I thought this would just be something fun to do that I could do at home, maybe get a little extra income, we'll see. So yeah, I just thought it would be fun. The next question is, what are some unique things that you bring to Booktube? I'm super quirky, maybe not in a good way, I don't know. I obviously have a unique taste in books. I read a little hodgepodge of everything. Also, I think every person brings something unique to Bookstagram because everyone has like their own unique personality. So, I mean, bringing myself to Booktube is kind of unique. Not everyone has the same reading taste, book recommendations, things like that. What am I the most excited for about this channel? I'm excited to meet new people, meet people who like the same books that I do, talk to you guys about books. I'm really excited to start vlogging. I'm a little intimidated by that, but I love watching vlog videos, so I'm excited to maybe try it. I'm also a night shift nurse. Staying up late at night and staying awake for a long amount of time is nothing new to me. So I'm kind of excited to do a 24-hour readathon challenge. We'll see. The next question is, why do I love to read? I've always loved to read. I remember being, well, I don't know if I want to tell you the story. I remember being like 5 years old and like reading to our pet ducks because I'm ridiculous. I remember like before I even knew how to read, looking at books and making up my own stories. My sister and my mom both loved to read growing up, so I would see them read and I would grab a book and sit by them on the couch and just like to feel cool like them. Then as I got older, I started to enjoy reading different kinds of books. I really got into like Ellen Hopkins and like classics when I was growing up in middle school. And then I kind of quit reading in nursing school, but after that I picked it back up. I just like the escapism that it gives you, especially today in this crazy world we live in. It's just kind of a way to decompress, disassociate a little bit maybe, and just kind of escape into another world. The next question is, what questions would I ask my favorite booktubers? Before I thought about starting this channel, my questions would have been, what are your favorite videos to do and why did you get into it and what are your favorite parts about it? But now that I'm creating this channel, my questions would be probably a little bit different now. I'd probably ask them, what are your editing techniques and what programs do you like to use and which ones did you find easier at the beginning, and tips and tricks on how they make their content, when do they make their content, just things like that. Just, you know, as a newbie starting out, I'd probably just ask for advice. The next question is, what challenges about starting Booktube will be the hardest to overcome? Probably like everyone, I'm a little nervous about like if people in real life find my videos, what they'll think, and will they think I'm a dork. Talking to the camera feels like talking to yourself, and it also kind of feels like, even though you're not really here right now, it's like talking in front of an audience, so it's kind of nerve-wracking a little bit. So I think those might be the hardest to overcome for me. I think like anything, just practice will make it better, and eventually I'll just stop caring what people think. Another question is, when did I start reading? Like I said, I started reading at a very young age before I even knew how to read. I remember reading a lot in like kindergarten and things like that. I've just always loved to read. When do I read? That's a very good question because the answer is crazy. So I'm a night shift nurse. I work 12-hour shifts, usually 7 p to 7 a. On the days that I work, I'll usually wake up at like 3 to 4, hang out at the house, spend time with my husband, our pets. I might try to read a little bit around that time before I get ready for work. So I treat my night shift like when I wake up at 4 p.m., I treat it like 4 a.m. So I'll read a little bit before work. I have 2 jobs, so depending on which one I go to, I may or may not have time to read. One of them, my little side gig that I have, is kind of easier, so I usually have time to read throughout the night. Sometimes I'll listen to the audiobook on my way home from work to kind of decompress. I usually don't read a whole lot after work. I usually just go home and go straight to bed. On the days that I don't work, I'll usually wake up and kind of have a slower morning and then probably start reading in the like early afternoon, and then I'll read through until the evening time. If I'm reading on my Kindle, I really enjoy reading in bed at bedtime. Sometimes if my schedule's really weird and I am having trouble switching back to like a day shift routine after working so many nights. I'll like wake up at the butt crack of dawn and just not be able to go back to sleep. Sometimes I'll wake up super early at like 3 a.m. or so, and I'll just get up and start reading and get a ton of reading done in the mornings. Really, I just read when I can and when I am awake. Ooh, the next question is, what kind of books do I like to read? And I read a little bit of everything. I used to read only romance. Since then, I've kind of branched out. I really like fantasy. I started off reading kind of romantasy, but since then I do like high fantasy. I enjoy Tolkien, Brandon Sanderson. I recently bought some like John Gwynne, Joe Abercrombie books, but I haven't read them yet. You know, I like V.E. Schwab, Rebecca Ross, things like that. Just a little bit of everything. I really enjoy fantasy, and then specifically I like fantasy with like dragons and things like that. I still do like to read romance, but typically I enjoy sports romances or queer romances. Some of my favorite authors are C.E. Rickey, J.J. Mulder, Serena Bowen. Lately, like in the last year or so, I've been reading more nonfiction. I made it a goal to read a little bit of nonfiction because I never used to. So usually if I'm in the mood for nonfiction, I'll do like an audiobook of a memoir or things like that, because I just feel like it's a real person telling me their life story, and I like that. I'm not a big horror fan just because I'm a little scaredy cat, but last year I bought a bunch of Stephen King and tried to get into that, and I do really like his books, so I might read more of that. Thank you so much for watching this video and for hanging out with me today. If you liked the video, comment below and let me know. Maybe subscribe for more bookish content so you can see what I'm posting in the future, and I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, I'm sending forehead kisses and good reading vibes.